Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video, which is also the podcast, so if you're planning on listening to it, maybe don't watch this video, we are going to be talking about 2025 so far in running shoes. So the shoes that we've tested that we really like, the shoes that have been surprising, and the shoes that have been a little bit underwhelming. Right, let's dive in and do the video. We're halfway through 2025 now, and recently we've had a lot of shoes come in to test. It's been a pretty big year for shoe releases so far, and in this video and podcast, we did this last year, I think, where we did a bit of an overview of the first 6 months of the year, because it's quite hard to do once a year because there's so many shoes that you end up just missing loads of shoes from earlier on. So this is our half year review of what has been out, what has really turned our heads, and what we've been impressed with. So let's open the floor. How has 2025 been for you and running shoes?
At the moment, Tom, it feels like I am sort of under an avalanche of them. There's a lot of shoes.
So many shoes
at the moment. So we've got big piles of testing. I think it's been really interesting. You've seen some real sort of shoes jump and be completely different. We've got I think the Brooks Hyperion Max 3, one of my favourite shoes of last year. And they're all, to me, some of them are going in the sort of same direction where they've become this kind of super trainer, big kind of high stack, quite soft sort of plated shoe with quite a minimal kind of upper and a sort of racy heel package. And for some of those, I'm not convinced. There have been some other crackers. I mean, I'm very happy that the Speed 5 feels like it's sort of pretty much more of the same, but now feels very different to some of those other shoes that are in that kind of that ballpark. I think there have been some really interesting shoes off the road. The trail shoes for 2025 have been more interesting as we see sort of more, softer foams, slightly more sort of aggressive shoes appearing on the trails as well. Some of that road shoe DNA transferring over. Obviously had some really big hitting carbon race shoes. Favourite among the testers, one of them is a Puma Fast R3, which I think has been really interesting. For me, others, Hoka Cielo X1 has been a positive. I think that's this year. That landed this year. So I think there have been some areas where we've actually moved on quite nicely and jumped. There's some areas where I think people have taken a little bit of a left turn, and I'm less convinced. Yeah,
I'd say trend in the carbon shoes is one I'm in favour of, which seems to be shoes are getting lighter. I think a bit more aggressive, a bit more racy. I think, whereas there was a trend of a lot of second generations of shoes got quite big and almost like they were going for comfort and bounce over everything. But that's what I think is happening in a lot of the daily trainer market. Everything seems to be getting bigger and bigger stacks and broader bases and stuff like that, which is the trend I'm okay with. It's not really my kind of shoe. I'm still hoping there's going to be a big push in the kind of Rebel Adidas Evo SL area of them, those lightweight, simple daily trainers. I think there's a few of them, but it feels like every brand should be pushing out one of those because those are great shoes, and I've really enjoyed those. I really like the Rebel this year. We don't know if there'll be an update to the Hoka Mac line, but the Adidas Evo SL was released last year, but we've tested it this year. I've been a huge fan of that. So I think there have been some great shoes. I think I probably have redone my rotation top to bottom with new releases this year, which doesn't happen every year. And I think there's been some really good releases and some that have jumped a bit out of nowhere.
Yeah, I tell you what, when you get a big pile of shoes, I think at its peak, I had, like 10 pairs in a pile that I hadn't even touched. And you can really tell which ones you're excited about when you've got them all in front of you in a big pile, because some of them you just don't look at. And I think there's a few shoes that have come out this year. There seems like there's quite a lot of shoes that haven't really changed that much or haven't any drastic updates to them, which is absolutely fine. It's if that's what shoes are designed for. But there are a few that are quite interesting in what they're trying to do and what they look like as well. We've had quite a lot. We've got quite a lot of videos up on the channel at the moment. So let's look at, from the testing that we've done over the past 6 months, what are the highlights?
I think the Fast R3 has got to go down as a highlight from Puma. I think it's pretty hard now. We're pretty blasé about carbon plate running shoes at this stage. A lot of them have converged on pretty similar designs. The Asics has been our favourite the last couple of years. The Fast R3 feels like a little bit revolutionary, and in a really hard place to do that now, given the limitations on them. But the extended plate, the very lightweight design, the very pushy rocker, the aliphatic TPU foams, it's all added up into an incredible racing package. And yeah, I was surprised. Like, it came out, I got it a week before London. I was amazed how it felt. I really liked it at London Marathon. And at a time where I think it is getting quite, like, even the shoes I like, the carbon shoes I like I've really liked the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5, the Hoka Rocket X3 I really liked, but none of those shoes I've gone like, they're must-haves, they're better than anything else. They're just all good lightweight racing shoes, but the Puma Fast R3 did feel a bit better than other things, and that's quite, we're about to start testing the Asics Meta Speed Tokyos, we'll see how those go, but oh yeah, that was probably, I think, the biggest pleasant surprise of the year for me so far.
It's I'm really pleased, because remember when we tested the original Fast R, and it was a bit of a novelty shoe. It was quite specific to a certain use case, and I think I seem to remember you liked it, Nick, but it wasn't a shoe that you'd pick up quite a lot.
Yeah, it was okay.
I'm glad that a Puma stuck with it and really developed that shoe, because I've used it a few times now, and it is a fantastic shoe. And I wouldn't have expected it to develop to this from that first version.
Or even the second version, which was so much heavier.
Yeah.
But Kieran, you did the lab testing, right?
Yeah, and I think what was really insightful from that trip was how they got to that point as well. So they're creating kind of physical iterations of the shoe, testing them with runners, looking for efficiencies, all of that kind of stuff. So you have multiple prototypes in the process of creating the shoe. They basically did a bunch of testing with runners in the old shoe, plugged that all into the computer, and used computer modeling to work out where to shave off foam that was unnecessary to save that weight, which is one of the big deals. That's the big thing, is cutting that weight down, how they could sort of tweak the geometry of the plate and all of those things. It was all done via the computer. And then essentially they went from that straight to the model that's on the foot. Apparently they didn't make prototypes in between and then go back and change them. It was like, this is the shoe that the computer told us was going to be good, and and it is. So in that kind of design process, and in terms of the speed of it, I think that's really interesting as well. It kind of helping. And I went there hoping that, in a way, that actually the shoes that I was going to take to test them against would prove that they were more efficient than the Puma. They didn't. Yeah, it didn't. It wasn't the case. It was by far the top performer, out of the three shoes that I took. So I think,
yeah, and obviously it's a test on the Puma conditions, but they have had a pretty solid study, and I think they did similar with the DV8 Nitro Elite 3. And people took their shoes to test against it and were more efficient, not in the Puma at times of that. But the Fast R3 does seem to be a shoe that people respond to. Efficiency is just one thing. Obviously, in the performance of a race, it might not be the best shoe for everyone. People might get more from a more comfortable shoe that's still very fast towards the back end of some races. But we've been really impressed by that. And like I say, it's just hard, I think, in now what is a very well-developed racing shoe market, to do something a bit different and for it to work. Because you can do something different. Like the first two versions of the Fast R were quite different, but they weren't huge hits necessarily.
Well, we sort of hoped that the Puma were doing that at the time, that they were just being experimental, hopefully end up with something that was really, really exciting, which doesn't always happen with brands. Sometimes they just throw something in for the purposes of marketing, don't they? Just to get a bit of notoriety. But no, it's definitely gone the right route. What about you, Kieran? Any standout highlights so far this year?
I mean, I have to say, I agree with Nick. I really like the Rebel V5, which I actually like the 4. I didn't get to run a huge amount in the 4, but the 5 feels like my kind of shoe. Just for quite sort of simple. It can be fast. I think I can do kind of easier runs in it as well. It just feels like a really solid all-rounder that's comfortable, light, and performs. And it's just not overdone. I don't know. It just feels very, very simple to me. It's a really easy one to choose for a lot of runs. So that was, I wasn't expecting for that to sort of almost jump up and compete in the way that I would use it in the runs that I would take it for against the Endorphin Speed 4. And now I'm interested to sort of put it up against the Speed 5 to see which one of those I prefer. And actually, having gone back into the Speed 5, I'm not sure now over longer distances whether or not the Speed 5 for me might feel a little bit more direct than the V5. And I might edge to the V5 for some of my longer runs. But
yeah, I think it was great. I think it's now moved into an area where, for me, that kind of shoe, I don't like it so much for speed work. I think it can do everything. I think it's a really good all-rounder shoe, but if you had a rotation, I'd have a faster shoe alongside it. But what I think it's done now is become so comfortable and stable and so lightweight. For me, it's like, if it can do all that, and there's no distance it wouldn't be comfortable over. Obviously, Kieran did the comrades in it, but even if you're just doing it for your Sunday long run, it's going to be very comfortable for that. for me, it makes me look at shoes like the Nova Blast and the Hoka Clifton 10 and Nike Pegasus and all those are really good, solid daily trainers. I go, well, I think the Rebel does the same job, 50 grams lighter, same price, comfortable, but more versatile. I think that's where it really can stand out, is like, this is just a great daily trainer and a really comfortable one. And you don't need an extra, 3-4 millimeters of cushioning on top of this because it is so comfortable and stable. So yeah, I was really impressed by that. And it's very much the type of shoe I like. I probably still prefer like the Adidas Evo SL as just a faster version of that, but it's much less stable. And I really like the Hoka Max 6 as a similar kind of, again, just a simple shoe. You don't have to think about it so much. Just pick it up, put it on, and it's going to be comfortable enough. It's going to be, I think that's the benefit of these amazing foams, is you can have really high stack shoes that are very comfortable, but are still really lightweight. And the Rebel is not high stack by today's standards, but it is really high stack, and it feels even higher than its listed stats to me. It feels very comfortable.
Nice. Yeah. I think that one of the things that I think that's happening quite a bit in the running shoe world is actually quite a big disparity between the expensive shoes and the good, cheaper shoes, because there's been a few shoes that have come out over the past few months that they're not budget options, but they're the lower end of the more premium ones. So things like the Ride, the 880 V15, Kieran.
Yeah, I like that one as well. Yeah,
they just seem to be just putting a lot more effort into that level of shoe. Cumulus, I wasn't a massive fan of the Cumulus, but I can see they've developed it a bit and they've had a bit more technology into it to make it a bit of a better shoe, basically.
Yeah, a lot of them are now so similar to the designs of the premium model. It is just often a case of just 2 or 3 extra millimeters of stack height, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other one that stood out. Oh, sorry, Tom, go on.
I was just going to say, for me, the standout shoe, and I think it was released just before Christmas, the Adidas Evo SL, but we're going to have to put it in loads of whatever videos we do for the rounds up of 2025. But that shoe, everybody loves that shoe. Every time I see anyone post about it, and it's justified. It's such a steal for the price, and that just goes to show that level of shoe, which is £130, you wouldn't even have dreamed of having that level of performance in a shoe 3 years ago in a shoe that price. So it's a good sign of the way that the shoes are developing at the moment.
I think that shoe is the reason I don't like the Rebel V5 even more, basically, because it's a similar price, similar style, but faster, better foam. Like, because obviously New Balance doesn't put its best foam in the Rebel, and Adidas had put a previous version of Light Strike Pro in there, and it's class. It is, it might be a bit wobbly for some people, but it's a shoe I've pulled on so much already. Oh, sorry, Kieran, you were saying something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not running the SL, so I can't draw that comparison, but I was going to say, it's interesting with some of those shoes when they're coming in at that kind of price, how good value they now look when you see a lot of other shoes. That's the other trend you've seen, is like the shoe prices are all creeping up. For a while, we were getting hit, I think, a lot more in the UK, and the US prices were staying the same. That's changed. Yeah. So all the US dollar prices are now rising more rapidly than the UK, but everything has seemed to, a lot of shoes have gone up £10-20, so it's getting more expensive. So it's nice to know you've got those shoes that are still going to offer the value at that price.
Yeah, and they always do. You get your head turned by the top of the range stuff, but those shoes are always great. And now, if brands are, the way foams are moving on from PIBA actually in lots of carbon shoes, it means that we'll maybe see more PIBA foams in everyday shoes and stuff like that. So I think they're only going to get better.
Nice. Any other highlights you can think of?
There's one other that I think is a surprise. It's just a shoe that shocked me because I wasn't 100% keen on it. Sort of the last generation was the Vomero, which I feel like is a bit of a transformation. It's sort of now kind of bigger stack, sort of a little bit sort of softer. It's a bit of a sort of hybrid shoe, good stability. But again, that's one that I can just do loads and loads of different runs in. It's maybe going to be a bit heavy for most people who want to go fast. I think particularly kind of your end of the sort of scale, Nick, who want something much lighter on their feet to go do their speed workouts. But it's another one where everyone I've bumped into who talks about it, who's experienced it, really loves it because it can do quite a lot. If you really need it to, it can go faster, but it's just an easy everyday shoe. And I didn't really like the last generation, so that was a bit of a surprise. And it's another one I think represents pretty good value.
Be interesting to see what happens now with that, because they've got the 2 models above it in the line now. One is the same stack, just all Zoom X, the Vomero Plus, and then the Vomero Premium is the mad one that's got the 55mm stack. And Yeah, I'm interested to test those shoes. We might not get to test them. We don't always get to test Nike shoes, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they're adding much compared to the standard Vomero, which I haven't tested actually.
It's I don't know about Nike. I feel like there's a potential for them. They seem to sort of bringing out 3 shoes around one sort of model frequently, right?
They've consolidated the lines because there already was the Invincible and the Vomero, but the Vomero Premium is something new, and there already was the Pegasus and the Pegasus Plus, and then the Premium as well. I mean, it does feel like a third shoe in each of those lines or silos, if we can use the correct terminology. Feels a bit. And doing the same with the structure. So there's going to be a structure Plus, and structure Premium as well, right? 3 shoes do the same job. I know lots of brands do 3 shoes, same job, different price points. But if the cheapest price point is already 130, 140, and it's already a very cushioned shoe, I don't know where you're going from there.
Yeah.
The last one for me to throw into this, which doesn't really count, is the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. But because of the existence of the 4PB, it's not that exciting a advancement for that series. But I do think it's a really good shoe, and one of the better ones that I've tested, race ones I've tested so far this year.
Yeah, I think every brand who's done a race shoe I've tested this year has improved on previous models. I think the Brooks have got better and better. I think the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 is really good. I quite like Rocket X3 as well. New Balance's new one is better as well. It's just, then they didn't do what the Puma did, basically, which is they've come out and they're going, that's their best racing shoe ever. But I think another brand's got a better shoe. And I think that's the big problem with racing shoes in general is people don't tend to have too many. Although I think people who watch our channel have a few. But it's I think they've all improved, but not in a way that looks like they've not come to the table with something they can brand a seismic shift or anything like that. It's not incredibly lightweight. It's not the springiest foam. It's just their best shoe as opposed to a shoe that maybe could be called the best shoe.
Okay, so we just talked about highlights, things that stood out. What about things that haven't really, not necessarily bad, but haven't really wowed us, haven't really changed? Quite a few of these I think we've tested over the past few weeks.
What was it? The Saucony Endorphin Trainer. That's my least favourite shoe of the year so far, I think.
The one I didn't mind.
Well, the one that was just another Kinvara Pro, just a really expensive but not very...
With a sponge in the middle.
Just, I don't know what that shoe does. It's like it's not really a super trainer, but it's got the price of one and a big heavy shoe, big clumpy shoe, very loud. Yeah, I didn't like that shoe.
Yeah.
Didn't like the Pegasus Premium actually either from Nike. I think that's, again, just a really high stack, 3 different foams in it, dangerously unstable, I think, for a shoe that you're meant to just be running easy in, and again, just unbelievably heavy. Like, just chuck a load of stuff in the shoe. I don't think it really worked out.
Well, there seems to be a lot of shoes that have come out as always that not really that much has changed. Tweaks, changes to the upper, things like that. So we've got the Gel Kayano 32, solid. Nothing, no major updates on that. We've had the Saucony Triumph 23, which is a little bit of a welcome update to the 22, which I don't think any of us liked. So that's a step in the right direction for Saucony. I think we've not finished doing the full review of that yet. I'm assuming you've got a similar view to it as me.
More or less. I mean, most of the classic big names haven't changed too much. I think that's probably one of the bigger changes, the Triumph, compared to the previous model.
Much needed. Things like the Hurricane 25, Saucony Hurricane 25, that doesn't seem to have changed a great deal, which I'm quite pleased about. And the Speed 5, not massive departure. The Mizuno Neo Vista 2. So I think we've all tested this, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit. So I've only done 1 or 2 runs, I think.
So this is an update to the foam. I think it's a dual layer of foam, isn't it? Which I didn't notice a massive difference in the testing that I've done so far in it.
I haven't run in I didn't run in the first one of those. I ran in the Neo Zen, and from that, one of the things that I sort of pulled out from looking at what other people said was that the Neo Vista had a little bit more kind of stiffness, a bit more snap to it. But actually, I don't know about those. I kind of can't quite make my mind up. I feel like they're too soft for me. I feel like
you definitely wouldn't like the first ones then.
I think the first
spongy,
ones. I thought the Neo Vista ones were better. Were more responsive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it easy to turn my feet over in those. I think the new ones are bouncier and softer, but they're squishier basically, and I think they're fine. You know, I was going to do a long run and try that, but I think when I tried them side by side, Neo Vista 1, I think you move through a bit faster. Is it a bit easier to push against it?
Oh, interesting. I've only done 2 runs in it, so maybe I need to soften it up a little bit. I definitely didn't think it was that soft when
Get your old ones out. I think you'll find that they feel a bit firmer, I reckon.
Okay, I'll give them a go. Anything else that sits in a sort of? I mean, we've got the Brook. I've not tried the Brooks. Well, I've done one running Brooks Ghost Max. How? What about that? Similar. It looks like the Ghost now. The Max 3.
Well, is it Rocked?
I feel like there's a whole swathe of shoes that have come out that are, you just stick in a big bucket labeled competent. Sort of. They're good enough. They'll do a job. Do they? When you put them on, you think actually this hasn't blown me away, and it's not doing anything particularly new. That's not necessarily a bad thing, But yeah, there's a lot of shoes that I think actually, this is perfectly good, not remarkable. I think
it depends how much they cost, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing with all of them. It's the ones where I go, well, yeah, perfectly fine, but get the previous version. And when this version's on sale next year, get this version. Nothing's moving around too much. I think Brooks shoes are fantastic. If you're building a rotation from scratch, I think it's never a bad idea to have a Brooks shoe in it because they last forever. They're built really well. They're tanks. They can soak up miles, but they're not always the most exciting ones. They're just really solid, aren't they?
I think the Max 3, the Hyperion Max 3 is, and I don't want to put, this is not in a bracket of shoes that I haven't enjoyed, but I just think it does something very different. And I absolutely loved the two, maybe because I basically did 40 miles of the Berlin Wall 100 in it. And it wasn't really necessarily a shoe that you'd immediately think that would be good for, but there was a few things about it. The light had really kind of nice, roomy, lightweight uppers. It had a bit of response, enough cushioning, but had like a nice, easy kind of clip through to it. This shoe feels completely different to me. It's now gone to being more of it's trying to be an all-out sort of fast trainer, but I'm not convinced it's 100% got there, but it's lost that ease. And the uppers, the whole booty upper thing is a complete change as well, with the sort of two-pad kind of minimal sort of heel collar thing going on as well, or at least a sort of wrapping pad on the inside. But
I feel like it's less quick than the previous one almost, even though it's got the better foam in, just because it's got so big. Yeah. The first run video, I liked it because I did the exact kind of run I think it's good for, which is a pretty relaxed long run where you might pick up a little bit here and there. But actually trying to actively unquicken it a couple of times, just didn't like that much. And then for kind of your short everyday runs, it just feels a bit too much.
And I'm not sure if it's it's the midsole and the ride, but it just I had this in my mind of a shoe that I wanted to do sort of similar to the last one, and the upper change I think is where I'm it sort of thrown me a bit with the shoe because I'm not convinced by it.
I don't like that pad at all at the back, I have to say.
It used to. I think that the other interesting thing was the Hyperion Max 2 did something different as well. It was quite sort of set apart from a lot of the other shoes that we were getting. And I like that, and now that's gone, I'm a little upset.
Well, it is for me.
To hear that.
I feel like this feels like it's the Hoka Skyward X is what I'd compare it to, like a big cushy plated shoe. That's I don't know what I never really know exactly what those shoes are for, but I guess recovery miles with even more of a boost, like this new Pegasus, this new Vomero Premium. But it doesn't feel like a super trainer to me. And whereas Hyperion Max 2, I didn't think it was a great super trainer in terms of speed, but it was quite a lot more stable than most of them.
All right, so one last question. So we're halfway through the year. We've got 6 months left. What is coming up, or what are we hoping is going to come up over the next 6 months that we either haven't heard about yet, or we do know about but we haven't got?
Oh, it's a big launch. Probably just after this podcast comes out. I'm very excited about. But it's not that exciting, I suppose, really. But I don't know who hasn't gone this year. Who hasn't done a big launch? Everyone's gone, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, are there going to be any surprise ones? We haven't
had the Pro Evo 2 in yet from Adidas, even though we were allowed to run 70 meters in it in a tunnel. But we were meant to be getting that shortly afterwards to test properly. But that's never happened.
Was Saucony Dolphin Pro 5?
Yeah,
no, if they've released a speed without that, I don't think that'll come out.
Okay,
I reckon. Be my guess. That's a guess, though.
Okay, what about any new? There's not going to be a new Alpha Fly anytime soon, is there?
No, it'll be next year, I guess. Some interesting prototypes floating around Instagram of that with an extended plate past the forefoot. It'd be very interesting if that happens. The Puma style. Yeah. Don't know if anything else going to come out.
I can't think of anyone that would do. Depressing state of affairs for us.
No, it's great. What we're just testing right now is the autumn launch of shoes. So the next thing we'll be testing is the spring next year, which normally comes in the winter before that. And the rush we've just had surely there can't be too much more to come. Because New Balance are the ones who often go late in the year with their launches, but I've had the SE Elite V5 in. Don't think so.
There's got to be a New Balance more 6.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they did 2 years between the last one, didn't they?
Did that? No. Maybe about a year and a half.
You're always going on about this. No one's bothered by that one, Tom.
What about it? Would like a Prime X3 strung?
Oh,
I've seen that floating about on Instagram.
that appeared on their website.
There we go. That looks very interesting.
I don't know. That doesn't excite me that much.
Really? Do you like the previous ones?
They're fine. It's just not a shoe that I'm going to use probably as part of my daily routine, or I'm not going to race in it. So I don't know. No. It's one of those ones that is quite interesting, but it's not one that are most interesting in shoes that I really want to actually use. It hasn't been the case with the Prime, the first 2 versions anyway. I've liked them, but they just seem a bit much.
Okay, I think that'll do is for 2025 so far. If you're listening to the podcast or you're watching the video version and we've missed a shoe that you think we should have mentioned, please leave a comment. And if there's any shoes you're excited about or hoping that are going to turn up, then also let us know.
When are we doing the podcast where we discuss how we create the categories for the best running shoe video again? That was a big hit last year, Tom.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The Chaos podcast.
Chaos Cast. The Venn diagram podcast.
Yeah,
I think we should do that one live. That should be live. We should invite people in.
Oh, a few drinks.
Just have an open discussion.
Okay. We can try it. We'll have a few lagers as well beforehand.
Yeah. Let's just hire Brighton Town Hall. Is it a city or a town?
We can get a big blackboard, like a big sticky board. We can bank the Venn diagram. We'll get stickers for each shoe. We'll put them in. It'll be 6 to 7 hours of just joy.
Well, best running shoes video will be out in July, so this is a precursor to that. But we'll do something. We'll do a podcast around it. Maybe not in the same format as the last time we did it. Right, catch you guys later.
See you later.
Bye bye.
All right. That's it from us on this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the little bell. And if you go in the captions, you can find a link to our podcast, which if you wanted to listen to this again, you could do as an audio version. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.